فانطلقا حتى إذا ركبا في السفينة خرقها قال أخرقتها لتغرق أهلها لقد جئت شيئا إمرا قال ألم أقل إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا قال لا تؤاخذني بما نسيت ولا ترهقني من أمري عسرا صدق الله العظيم. My dear respected brothers, we reached the point where Musa alayhi salatu wasalam met Khidr alayhi salam, and as the hadith mentions, gave him salam. And what did Khidr alayhi salam say? Where is this salam coming from? In this barren land. And he said, it's Musa. Which Musa? He said, Musa of Banu Israel. He said, what do you want? He says, can I follow you? Hal attabi'uka? Can I follow you with the understanding that you teach me some of the knowledge that Allah has given you? Allahu Akbar. And yesterday we mentioned from Imam Razi 12 etiquettes of a student when they approach the teacher. From this verse. Zangi, you wrote down?
I wrote all 12, yeah.
I can't say them. What are the 12 etiquettes? You got bullet points, you've adumbrated them. You have
No, so I'll tell you.
Yeah. What's the first one?
Be a follower.
So he said, look, I want to become a follower. There's only 3 words, but Imam Razi derived how many? 12. 12 etiquettes. Number 1, he said, I want to be a follower. Number 1.
He wanted his permission, and
this is the pinnacle of tawadu and humility. He not only said, I want to become your follower, can I have permission to be your follower? Allahu Akbar. Look at the etiquettes of a student. And down here is Musa alayhi salam was far greater than Khidr alayhi salam. Number 3.
He accepted that Khidr had knowledge that he doesn't know.
He also has acceptance that Khidr alayhi salam has knowledge which he doesn't. Nowadays you have students that they're just to take test from the teacher. Yes? Down here this is not the case. Sincerity of gaining this knowledge. Number 4.
So he wanted to acquire some of this knowledge from Khidr, which Allah.
So number 4, he didn't want to acquire the full knowledge. So meaning I don't want to become equal as you in this, but just some of it. Allahu Akbar.
So that's what meant the 5th one was from which is given to him by Allah.
The 5th one was? That's what one.
No, the 4th one was to acquire some of the knowledge.
So, some of the knowledge.
And
the 5th one is, yes.
Allah.
Yeah, the 5th one is acknowledgement that this knowledge is from? Or is it granted from Allah? Yes. Number 5. Number 6.
Is hidayah, for guidance.
Yes, what he said rushda. He said that knowledge, which is a means of guidance. Meaning, without it, it can be a means of misguidance. So it was important knowledge. Yes, number 6. Number 7.
To be blessed in the same way that Khidr has been.
What did he say? The knowledge which Allah has given you, meaning the way Allah has blessed you, can you also bless me in the same way? That was number?
That was number
7. Yes. Number 8.
So following Khidr, one is exemplified their teach, exemplifying the teacher.
That he said, I'm a follower.
Yeah, he is a follower of Khidr, and he wants to exemplify the example of his teacher.
So he wants to follow. What is it? I want to become your follower. So what does following mean? Following means you follow the person because of their action, not because of evidence. Yani he wanted to be a follower of Khidr al-Islam, meaning whatever Khidr al-Islam does, he wants also do. Which is a lesson that when you become a student, in the initial stages, you just follow your teacher without questioning and objecting. Yes?
But next one, to follow him fully.
He said, I want to be your follower, not when I feel like it, or when it's, no. Meaning without any condition. Yes, it was a unconditional ittiba, following. Yes. Number 10 now.
So Musa had a zeal for knowledge and humility. So, a zeal for knowledge.
Oh, yes, no. Yeah. The number 10 was the zeal, yani, despite having such a high rank, and despite Khizr Islam knowing who he is, he still had so much humility, which point number 10 is that the more knowledge you have, yes, the more eager you are to learn more. And then we give the quote to Imam Shafi'i, who said that a student is of 4 types.
Who starts learning, they think they know it.
Yeah, so the first stage of student knowledge is a person who just starts learning, they just read a few Wikipedia articles on the internet, and then they start butt-mouthing Aimma, yes? Because they think they know it, yes? That's the first person.
So they start learning.
And the second stage is?
They start
learning a bit more, and then they realize, well, they've got some to learn. Yeah, there's some ignorance there. And then they move on to the third stage.
The third one is that they don't know that much.
Yeah, the third one, they do further research, they realize there's a lot they don't know. Yes? And the final fourth stage is, they learn so much, they do research for years and years, and they realize they don't know anything. Yes? So that was, okay. Point number 11?
It says, can you teach me? It's a type of service.
So he first said, can I follow you with the understanding that you teach me? So first he presented khidmah, following. Then he said ta'aleem. So a student should first offer their services to the teacher and then take knowledge from them. Yes.
Following purely to pursue knowledge.
With the understanding that you teach me knowledge. There was no other stipulation, no other agenda, there was no other purpose. It was just pure to follow the knowledge, yes? To gain knowledge. And then we spoke about knowledge having intrinsic value. MashaAllah. And he's a good student. You can follow me now, Jangir. But you ask questions, so it's fine. I'm not going to say what Khizr Islam said. Don't ask me until I explain. I will say that to you. So these were the 12 lessons. And we should write these down. Put them somewhere on a poster. Okay. So Khizr alayhi salam, he accepted Musa alayhi salatu wasalam's condition, but he said, look, whatever happens, you can follow me, but with the condition that you don't ask me anything that I do until I tell you afterwards, explain. Because as we mentioned yesterday, the Sharia, Musa alayhi salatu wasalam was given the knowledge of Sharia, halal and haram, do's and don'ts. And Khizr alayhi salam, according to the most sound opinion, he was a prophet, but he was not a prophet of the Sharia, meaning he was not given revelation where to propagate to people or the book. He was given revelation about certain events in the dunya, certain extraordinary events, which normally is impermissible to do those things. And what Khizr alayhi salam did, normally in Sharia is not allowed to do those things because they clearly contravene the command of Allah. And this is why Khizr alayhi salam said to Musa alayhi salam that you will not be able to bear patience with me, because what you will see, it will contradict the Sharia, and then you will question and you will object. But Musa alayhi salatu wasalam said, no, I will be sabir, I will be patient, and I will not question. And then the question arises that if Khizr alayhi salam is going to contradict the Sharia, apparently, then how can Musa alayhi salam make such a promise that I won't question? The answer, Musa alayhi salam had the assumption that because Allah told him to take knowledge of Khizr alayhi salam, he believed that everything is going to be fine. Okay? Anyway, the condition was made. Musa alayhi salam gave his word. Throughout this journey, I will not question, and I will follow you. So let's move on. So فَانْطَلَقَا, they both started their journey from that location, from the confluence of the two seas. As they're walking, they had to embark and go onto a ship. Yes, because a river came in between, so they needed a ship. So there was a few brothers who owned a ship, they had a ship. And they recognized Khizr alayhi salam, so they offered Khizr alayhi salam to come onto the ship. As soon as they got into the ship, as the hadith mentions in Bukhari, Khizr al-Islam got an axe and he took out a few planks from the ship, made a hole in it. So Musa alayhi salatu wasalam said, have you made a hole so you can drown these people? And they've given us a free ride and you've made a hole? Yes. Look, so the narration mentioned that when Khizr al-Islam made this hole inside the ship, the water did not enter the ship, it did not drown. But because highly possible that water would have entered, it shouldn't. So Musa alayhi salatu wasalam objected. From historical narrations, it seems that Khizr alayhi salatu wasalam took out the plank, and then miraculously there was like a cover of a window type, like a screen, see-through screen, which became a barrier. And some narrations suggest that miraculously the water stopped entering, but you could see the hole clearly. So this is what the Quran says. So when they proceeded and they needed to cross the river, حَتَّى إِذَا رَكِبَ فِي السَّفِينَةِ, they boarded a boat. It belonged to some poor people, some poor brothers, who gave a free ride to Khizr al-Islam because they recognized him. So as soon as they entered, خَرَقَهَا, he and Khizr al-Islam made a hole in it by removing a few planks. So قال Musa alayhi salatu wasalam said, أَخَرَقْتَهَا لِتُغْرِكَ أَهْلَهَا, have you made a hole so you can drown the people of the boat? They've given us a free ride. They're poor people. They haven't charged anything. And you made a hole straight away inside the ship. لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا إِمْرًا, you have certainly committed a grave act. You have perpetrated a grave wrong act. Khizr alayhi salam said to him, قال ألم أقل إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا, did I say to you, you will not be able to bear with me? I told you, didn't I? Now I'm going to do certain things you will not be able to bear with me, and you will object and you will question. So Musa alayhi salatu wasalam said, oh, he said, I forgot. قال لا تؤاخذني بما نسيت. Realizing that he was not supposed to question because he made a promise. Musa alayhi salatu wasalam said, do not take me to task for what I have forgotten. I genuinely forgot. And وَلَا تُلْهِقْنِي مِنْ أَمْرِي أُسْرًا, and do not be harsh with me in such matters. Let this one slide. Genuinely forgot. Khizr alayhi salam said, okay, it's fine. First time it happens. People forget. Imam Fakhr Razi rahmatullahi alayh, he has mentioned, which I think is important to understand. He says, وَاحْتَجَّ الطَّاعِنُونَ فِي عِصْمَةِ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ عَلَيْهِمُ السَّلَامِ بِهَذِهِ الْآيَةِ مِنْ وَجْهَيْنِ. The Aqeedah of the Ahl Sunnah is that the Anbiya alayhim salam, the prophets, are infallible, meaning they do not commit sins, both minor and major. Mistakes are different. Human mistakes are different. But committing sin, this is something that the Anbiya cannot do. Why? Because the Anbiya are told to follow. The unconditional ita'at. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasul. Obey Allah and His Messenger. So the obeying a prophet is unconditional. Now if somebody says, well, the prophets commit sins, then that will entail that people have to also follow them in those things. Yes? Which will obviously contravene the entire Sharia. Imam Razi rahmatullahi has got a book on this. It's called Ismatul Anbiya, where he discusses all those verses and ahadith which apparently suggest that the Nabi committed a sin. Apparently.
And that's before they become a Nabi or prophet.
Even before they become Nabi, the sound position is the door. Yes? So this verse he is saying now, this incident that just happened, those who reject the isma of the Anbiya, meaning those who believe that the prophets do commit sin, na'udhu billah, and that they are not infallible, they use this verse, today's incident of the ship. How? They say, look, they bring two evidences from this verse. Number one, they say, أنه ثبت بالدليل أن ذلك العالم كان من الأنبياء ثم قال موسى عليه السلام أخرقتها لتغرق أهلها فإن صدق موسى في هذا القول دل ذلك على صدور الذنب العظيم عن ذلك النبي وإن كذب دل على صدور الكذب عن موسى عليه السلام. So this is the first objection. If we take the premise that Khidr alayhi salam was a Nabi, he was a prophet, yes, which is the most sound position, then what did Musa alayhi salam say to him? Have you made this hole so you can drown these people? Now, if this is the case, Khidr alayhi salam did make this hole to drown people, then this is a great crime on behalf of Khidr alayhi salam, which of course is against the infallibility of the prophets. Prophets can't make such a big crime or when to drown people. Conversely, what Musa alayhi salatu wasalam said, if this is not true, him suggesting that you are trying to drown people, then na'udhu billah, that is a lie on behalf of Musa alayhi salam. In both cases, the isma, the infallibility of the prophet is being questioned. Number one. Did you understand? Number two, the second evidence they use from this verse. Who uses? Those people who do not believe in the infallibility of the prophets. They say, أنه, meaning who? Musa alayhi salam, iltazama, he made a binding on himself, that لا يعترض على ذلك العالم, sorry, that he will not question that scholar, meaning Khidr alayhi salam. He made a promise, didn't he? That he will not question. He made a promise, but now he is clearly questioned. So these are two things. So Imam Razi, rahmatullah alayhi, Imam Ghazali Razi, these are two my, dream team when it comes to defending the aqeedah of the ummah. So he said, وَالْجُوَابُ عَنِ الْأَوَّلِ, the answer for the first evidence, which is what? That either na'udhu billah, Khidr alayhi salam did a crime, or that Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, what he said was false. أنه لما شاهد موسى عليه السلام منه الأمر الخارج عن العادة قال هذا الكلام لا لأجل أنه اعتقد فيه أنه فعل قبيحا بل لأنه أحب أن يقف على وجهه وسببه وقد يقال في الشيء العجيب الذي لا يعرف سببه إنه إمر يقال أمر الأمر أي إذا عظم وقال الشاعر داهية دهيا يعني Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, when he said this, have you done this to drown the people? He was not actually suggesting that have you done this to drown people. He was making an observation that this is against normality, adatan. Normally speaking, you don't make holes inside. Yeah. So why have you done this? Is a matter which is normally not understood. So the question was more of a rhetorical question than why have you done this? Opposed to suggesting that you've done this to drown the people. Sometimes even sometimes we rhetorically ask something, not that we exactly mean that, but it's a way of asking. And number two, as for that he made a promise, because this is something which he clearly forgot. Yes? Clearly forgot.
Prophet's going to forget.
Yeah. And this is why, what did Khidr alayhi salatu wasalam say? Alam aqul laka lan tastati ma'i sabra? Did I tell you will not be patient? And then Musa alayhi salatu wasalam apologized. Look, I've genuinely forgot, so do not be harsh. Yes? And what did Khidr alayhi salatu wasalam do? He accepted the apology. That's where the journey continues. So that is not forgetting, is not breaking promise. In fact, forgetting is something, is an excuse. Yes? The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, Rufi'a an ummati al-khata' wa nisyan, that making mistakes and forgetting is forgiven from my ummah. You're not judged. Even in the month of Ramadan, when you're fasting, if you forget that you're fasting and you have a burger and chips, your fasting is not broken. This actually is fuqaha say, if you see an old person eating and they forgot to let him eat, don't remind them. So this is direct nutrition from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They've genuinely forgot and they've eaten. The fasting is not broken and they're full. Yes? So forgetting is something that you are not accountable for. Tamam?
On the first point, Khidr obviously obeyed Allah's instructions, so he didn't do any. Yeah, that white Kizza made the own, did.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, but the verse that the words that they're using is Musa alayhi salam word. Have you made this whole to drown people? They're using that as a thingy. But so Musa alayhi salam didn't ask with that question, with that intention. The intention was to know the reason, because normally this is not, people don't do this. Yes? So they continue their journey now. They get off the ship and they continue with this journey, inshallah. We will continue from here tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka.